Hi there, everyone. My name is Norma Strange. I'm the author of Life, Let It Flow Effortlessly. And I wanted to be able to just get some information here on the recording. I know a lot of you are waiting for your books, so I don't want you to stress out about that. They're coming, they're on their way, and it's going to be a great time that we're going to have together here the next few weeks as we go through this material week by week. But because I'm a consultant and I'm an inspired leader, there's a lot of intuitive things that'll come up while we're talking and working together. So as we get prepared for our session today, I thought I would just kind of lay down a foundation here, just in case there's some inspiration and we go in different directions for our introduction call. Just to put you guys at ease, one of the things that I've done in the past, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, is to do this as workshops. And I've done this content quite a bit. We started doing it in 2006 through 9. Working with direct sales and network marketing leaders. And I like to open it up with the introduction that we're going to do today. So that's going to be more of a, working with those people there live, and for the people watching the recording, having them consider what they would say if they were there with us. And so that'll be a discussion in itself. It won't require any reading or any preparation, just your hearts and your minds being open. So that's going to be for today, and that's going to set the tone for this week. Then we're going to go through the book. I've kind of divided it out into 6 chunks. It may take us, 6 to 8 sessions to get through this. We'll let it kind of play out based on where we're at. But the material in the book is obviously going to be there for you to go along at your pace. This book was written in order to be a conversation with you, be able to have it be a mentor with you, so that if I couldn't be there with you, then we're having a discussion facilitated by my voice, using my experience, not because I'm trying to talk about my stories, but to share with you the learning that you might see and give you some examples to get your brain going, get your heart open, so that you can start seeing how valuable and priceless that you really are. And so I want to make sure that you understand that you could just pick up the book and start working through it and get to the journaling exercises. If you're truly open to getting more transformation done, come at those exercises where it asks you to write some things down and actually put yourself in a blank sheet of paper moment where nothing is coming from the past and you're not anxious or worried about the future, that you're actually there with yourself. You're actually mentoring yourself through that conversation in the book, using my voice in the book as a conversation to help you. I felt like if I could put a mentor in a book, for a very affordable price. Sometimes you can get mentoring for free, and that's the best mentoring that I've ever had. I found industry experts that helped me, and I would sit with them or call them or check in with them frequently and let them know what was going on so that they could give their wisdom on my life, or maybe ask a question for me to consider that I hadn't thought, something from my blind spot, right? So mentoring can be anywhere from free to very expensive as far as coaching or consulting even. And I wanted to be able to give as much of that in this particular work, that you could be able to be empowered and that you could start to discover that it's not out here that the value is, it's in here, it's you. And I want you to be able to understand more of that. So we're going to be working a lot on that inside part of you. So I just wanted to set your mind at ease that if you haven't received your book yet, don't worry about it. It's all in perfect timing, because some of the things that we struggle about allow us to understand how much we can't control. And then the more that we can understand, then let that part go. Let's look at what we can control. Let's look at how we can let go of things that are holding us back, cut away those anchors and sandbags so that we can thrive and fly. That's really what we're going to be engaging in more. So I wanted to go through just a little bit of a foundation here just for this first week, since you don't have your book, and I want to get you thinking on the right track so that in addition to today's session, we can go through some thoughts. So I'm going to read a couple different pieces that I wanted to highlight here in this first section. And then we'll basically get through the layout of what's coming, and we'll be set for our conversation today. So if you see this after today's recording, it's not a problem. None of this goes in sequence. It's obviously written in a certain way. And there are some people who really want to go 1 through 10, kind of that kind of sequence. But just understand that as this information flows to you, it's not intended. It doesn't have to be one built on top of another, built on top of another. The discussion in the book is set up for us to deal with our fears first, because those are the things that hold us back. A lot of times we can't even dream because we're actually being conditioned by things that have already locked down our possibility or our creativity. So those are there purposely. But like I said, when you get your book, that'll all make more sense. So in the dedication here in the very beginning, I wanted to kind of just go through, I'm only going to go through the first section here up to page 4. So we're really not going to be that far behind for those of you that haven't got your book to touch yet. And I'm not going to read all the pages here. I'm just going to read some excerpts here that I wanted to pull out. So in the dedication, there's a quote here. It says, "Mom, you have your life and I have my life." Casey, my oldest daughter, summed this up so simply at the early age of 3 years old. More than simple, it was pure, and it has never stopped echoing throughout my life. My life has been enriched now because I truly own it. It's mine, and yours is yours. You can waste time living yours for someone else, but why? There's an unmatched freedom that comes from understanding and really accepting this idea. And so one of the thoughts that came to my mind when she said this was, oh, my goodness, what are the teenage years going to look like with this child? She's my oldest. She's 24 now. She's a beautiful young lady, and I'm so proud of her. But she did challenge me a lot of times through that with that, you know, you have your life, Mom, and I have mine. And it's brilliant and beautiful. It came from her wise little mouth at 3 years old, totally out of context. There was nothing we were talking about at that particular time that actually warranted her to say this comment. But I remember thinking, what do I have a hold of here? Am I qualified to be her mom? And then I was scared what the teenage years were going to look like, and they worked out really well. So I just wanted to make sure and understand that. But one of the things that was funny is that as I've gotten into my 50s, I've realized how much she was so wise when, you know, I was in my 30s at that time. And if I would have been able to get that message from her earlier, I could have owned my life sooner. And that's one of the things that I want to just kind of impress upon you is that you have your own life. And the more that you can own it and the more that you can lean into your uniqueness, that's going to help you to actually have life more effortlessly and business more effortlessly as well. So continuing on, just one other little thing I wanted to focus on this page. If you don't consider yourself capable, worthy, or able, this book was written for you to realize your own worth. Remember, you are priceless. Each of us has our own understanding of our existence. I hope you won't let anyone convince you to give up on you, especially yourself. So truly, I think that's where a lot of my inner work is to make sure that I didn't give up on me or that I didn't sell myself short. And that's kind of the encouragement that I wanted to open the book with. Last, there's a little paragraph here about hope of what I hope that we can be able to accomplish here. My hope is that you utilize this life, letting it flow effortlessly, to be genuine and create real value. It's always confused me that so much energy is focused on making a living when we were given life freely. It seems common to get caught up into spending time and precious life to exchange for money to fund a lifestyle as we seek value. I wrote this to help us flip this around. You are value. You matter. You are priceless. You are unlimited. Your story matters. Inspiration breeds an inner strength that is contagious, and it starts with you. This book is dedicated to you. I hope it brings out the very best. We have the potential to change the world together as you embrace fulfillment and see what happens when you overflow onto others. And I'll explain more of that later, but I do believe we have that capability to fill up and to spill over onto people. And that's kind of a little different direction that I want you to consider. There's a table of contents here. I've broken it into about 6 different segments. This first week, we're going to just be covering this first 4 pages here. Then we're going to go into how are you and learning about crabs that hold us back. We're going to understand and focus in a little bit more on what it is you really want, not conditionally to something else or reacting to something else, but what is it that you really want. Then as we go into the 3rd week, we're going to get into the life process, which is the core part of the book. And then I've got some excerpts and some extra things about creating real value, because I do believe that the subtitle here, How Being Genuine Creates Real Value, is one of the most important things. We can help you be more genuinely you. You'll create more value just naturally, effortlessly. And that's what this is all about. As we go into the week 4, we're going to be in that value section. Week 5, we're going to be talking about how we can make a difference. A couple different things in there about just being fulfilled and attracting opportunities to you more effortlessly, more magnetically. And then in week 6, we're going to finish up through the hope section. Hope is an acronym for me, helping other people every day. And I've expanded that, helping other people every day, everywhere, and in every way. If you can kind of be that, walking it out in the world, especially with our kind of service to the world kind of mode in business, I think that's a really great thing as we bring hope to the world. If you ever call my voicemail, you'll hear that message as well on there. I'm just spreading hope everywhere. And then it goes through the acknowledgments, and there's some works cited in here, and the works cited are great books, great additional resources for you to read if you haven't read them already. So that's going to be basically finishing up in week 6. And like I said, based on where we're going to start, I feel like this first week is going to be more introduction so we can understand and I can know who I've got in the group. I want to be able to hear from you live on the videos. I also want to hear comments from you as well in the group. Inside of our Facebook group, that's where we can keep on going at a daily progress, right? Weekly focus, but daily progress. And then collaborating and connecting to one another. I know that you guys are already knowing a lot of each other and everything in this particular group, but you know, sometimes we actually work with groups that people come together and they don't know each other. So in that situation, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to meet the other members in the group. And that's why it's really important for you to be involved inside of the private Facebook groups that we put together, because those are where the communities are building. And those are where the collaborations are going on, connections and relationships that are forming. So I do have a reference here to a quote from Insight. There was a movie, a film called Insight, which means the power of intuition. Insight means to see from the inside out. And I like this quote because it really helps us to see the inside out process that we're involved in here. So I'd gotten permission to put this quote in here. The quote is, "To see within is to know yourself well enough to be able to put yourself into other people's shoes and bring out the best in you," which is interesting. As we put ourselves in other people's shoes, we bring out the best in you, because you'll be able to understand and connect in a different way. So I thought that was an interesting thing just to open the book with. And then as we go into the forward here, there's just a couple more spots that I wanted to emphasize. So let's see, the preface is here. And so this is the quote that I wanted, or the excerpt that I wanted to bring out. "Improving your understanding first of yourself and then of those around you will empower you to connect more quickly and much deeper. This is important as collaboration is becoming more important to business success. And then brands create communities." So I really feel like we're in a season right now of collaboration. And I believe that it's going to become more and more important. I think before it was really about information age, and now we're more of a collaborative age where we're trying to build connections better in order to be able to build stronger communities and allow our diversity of communities, because every single person is unique. And so being able to bring together a lot of diversity in our communities and be able to still have ourselves not fragment apart, but actually come together. So collaboration is a really big one. I've seen that be something that I enjoy from way back in the late 90s, but I really believe we're coming into more of a focused time where these strengths that we have, and those of us that want to connect and want to collaborate, this is our time. And so if that's you, you know, that's a message of hope. I really do believe we're right on top of you being in a thriving time for your modality. This book engages the power of your heart and the potential of your mind to guide you to achieve fulfillment. I'm here speaking to you in this book to help you discover what's already inside of you that will let you enjoy life. So that was part of the focus. We can be productive, we can be accomplished, but let's enjoy the life we create, right? Let's have time to be able to enjoy all the facets of life, not just work so hard and be so spent. I mean, I've been there in all these places, so I'm not condemning anyone. I'm actually just speaking from experience. We've all gotten too much, too focused. You know, there's sacrifices that are made that are too damaging. And so when we look at it, how is it that we can create a life that actually fulfills us and that helps us to be able to thrive? So then expanding a little further, next paragraph down, when you know and value you, it becomes more natural to listen to people on a deeper level. It feels effortless being this genuine. You deliver more value and serve the real needs of people. Operating in this way gives you a distinct advantage. Your reward is not just more customers, but creating lifelong advocates who champion your success. So imagine inspiring people to where they take the vision that they've been inspired. They take the transfer of your essence, what you're up to, what excites you. They take that as a seed and they share that out with others. The more that I could have people doing that and sharing that message, like for me, I'm looking at it like, let's look at not working so hard to try to make a living. Let's look at, we have life. Now what shall I do with it, right? Let's flip that around and have that be something that we can inspire people, no matter whether they're working a job or creating their own business, or maybe they're just working on taking care of family, multi-generations, or young kids. How can they look at their life and think, I have been given life, what shall I do with it? Rather than I have to go work to make a living, and then I'll try to live with the energy that's left over, right? It's kind of backwards. So from teaching the content in this book, in consultations and workshops, like I mentioned, I've done that for years, I've witnessed dramatic breakthroughs in life changes and accelerated results. Of course, it's ultimately up to you, the individual, to choose to stay with your development and then reach your goal. Remember that no one can do the work for another. All we can do is lead and instruct people to follow a recipe. Ultimately, we all choose to receive success when we're ready. So keep that in mind. Your success is sitting right out here, like waiting to come to you. Are you ready to receive it? Have you prepared to be able to receive it? Like if I was to give you 1,000 customers today in your business, could you do it? Are you really ready to be this leader that's going to speak to 10,000 people tomorrow, today? Could you do it? That kind of thing. So just understanding what is it you want and how big do you want it to be, and have you done that preparation in order to be ready for it? Because it's right here. It's ready and waiting. And then as soon as you're ready to receive it, it just comes right in. It's just amazing how fast that can happen. That manifestation, the law of attraction, your transformation, all of these things energetically, there's not a time and space issue. It's a preparing and receiving and being ready. And lastly, here's the paragraph that ends this particular session for today. I've wondered why people work so hard to make a living when they've been given life. This thought pattern will set the stage for your transformation. Think about what your life would look like if you embraced all of your time, knowing you could do anything with this vital resource. Imagine that all of your bills are paid and that you have enough money for anything needed, and even some to spare. Imagine you have all of your time and you have money providing for your livelihood. Now, instead of having to go do something for work, what would you be? If you didn't make limits appear real, who would you let yourself be if you lived unlimited, living life effortlessly? So this is what gets me excited, is that question. So I'm going to read it again. Instead of having to go do something for work, what would you be? If you didn't make limits appear real, who would you let yourself be if you lived unlimited, living life effortlessly? And that's going to be what we're going to consider this week. So today's session is going to be coming up. We're going to be doing introductions of each other. We're going to be looking at what it is that I can provide value to you and make sure that you know what the value you want. And we're going to be getting into it. So that's the first section. We've got some other things that are going to be coming up for next week, of course. And I'm going to share with you a story in our time together today as we get together live. But I wanted to be able to prepare this just to make sure that in case we get off course, you have a foundation and that you're not worried about anything. That today is a present moment and that you take advantage of it just like a blank sheet of paper. What do you want to create? Don't bring anything from the past. What do you want to create? Don't worry about the future. Past is depressed, future is anxious, but this present moment is a gift, and I believe it's why it's called present. We forget that. We're being given this moment right now. It doesn't have any conditions on it. It's a blank sheet of paper. You can draw anything you want on there. You can create anything you want on that. What is it you want to be? Who do you know you've always been? Who do you wish you could be again? What is it you want to do? And that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to be working inside on you. So I appreciate you taking the extra time here for this little extra video, and I look forward to seeing you on the live event. Thank you.